Were you expecting somebody else? I'm Zach Harold. I'm the guy that's usually on the other end of that camera. As you have no doubt seen recently, we made a Halloween snack spooktacular video. You can click the link if you haven't seen it, where we brought in our educator Shannon Ritchie. She got some helpers in Stella and Julian, and we made some really fun and healthy Halloween themed snacks. But I wanted to give you guys a little view behind the scenes of what went into the making of that video, including how we turned our beautiful studio here into a haunted house. So let's take a look. Well, that was a lot easier than expected. The process started a couple days before the actual shoot. We had to get everything decorated up. So I measured the pictures that usually hang there in the studio and cut some paper to match that size, using a couple glass bowls to weigh down the curling end. Used a yardstick and a pencil to mark the middle so I'd know where to put my picture. And then, working off some concept sketches I'd made the night before, I used oil pastels to draw some goofy looking jack-o'-lanterns to hang on the back wall there. I took the usual photos out of their frames, very carefully rolled them up for storage, and popped in the pumpkin pictures. Quick trip to the local superstore for some Halloween decorations. To take every one of these spiders off of their little twist ties. Also scored a few bags of fake spider webs. This stuff is really difficult to work with. I started stretching it over the backdrop, trying to layer the different colors and textures to create some depth. I also picked up a fog machine. Didn't want to make things too foggy. For one thing, I didn't want to set off the fire alarm in the building, but I just wanted to give the video a little bit of a creepy haze. So really a few puffs of this would smoke up the room pretty good and just create this creepy, foggy vibe. And what's a Halloween video without jack-o'-lanterns? We already had 3 traditional jack-o'-lanterns on the wall, so I wanted to do something a little bit different. I got the bright idea that I'd try a vegetable peeler, and that worked pretty well until the vegetable peeler broke. Ultimately, I ended up using one of the multi-tools that we hand out as incentives to people who graduate from our classes. It's got a spoon at one end and a spatula at the other. This thing proved to be really effective for removing the slimy pumpkin guts. I thought I would use a stencil to draw on the design of the pumpkin, so I printed out my design on a piece of paper, very carefully cut it out, only to realize that a 2-dimensional stencil does not work very well on a 3-dimensional object like a pumpkin, so I pretty much immediately abandoned that plan and just decided to freehand it. Now, the tricky thing about a flying WV is that little line between the W and the V. I had to be very careful when cutting that out to not just completely wreck it. So I ended up taking the V out in sections. And you know what? Turned out okay. Only problem is those Sharpie lines on there, but I have a plan to get those off. First, let's clean up a little bit of the mess here. Get my pumpkin guts and stencil fragments out of the way. The Lysol did a pretty good job of cleaning the dirt off the pumpkin, but hand sanitizer, alcohol-based of course, did a really good job getting the lines off the pumpkin because Sharpie ink is made of alcohol, and alcohol-based cleaners bring it off. And here you can see the final product. We've got that creepy gauzy linen stuff on the walls as well as the spider webs. We got some little spiders hanging out, a Happy Halloween banner. My jack-o'-lanterns are on the wall. We've got the flying WV jack-o'-lantern on the oven. Popped a few green lights against the background to give it a little bit of color. And of course, we've got our fog machine to give us that creepy haze. And with all that completed, we were ready to film. We hope you guys enjoyed our snack spooktacular video. We hope you enjoyed this look behind the scenes, and we hope you'll continue to follow the WVU Extension Service Family Nutrition Program for more healthy and nutritious and delicious content.
Shut it down. Perfect. Good job.
I did it wrong.